Hello there, it's Laverne, and I'm back to talk to you a little bit more about how to be happily single. In my last two videos, I talked about myself, my journey to discovering that I have the gift of singleness, how I have lived and navigated through life as a single woman. I'm 63 years old now, and how I know that it's been the best decision for me. Tonight, or today, I want to talk about the importance of relationships. Even though I know that marriage and having children were not for me and still are not for me at this point, I also recognized that relationships matters. Relationships matter. And I'm talking about male female relationships. Of course, I have girlfriends and that kind of thing, and family. But it's very important, even as a single woman, to have meaningful relationships with men. It is difficult sometimes to navigate through the dating arena and to find men who are okay with just being friends and taking the time to develop a deep and meaningful friendship with you, knowing that you don't want to get married, it's nothing serious, you just want companionship. I think that's a really good word. And I have had to navigate my way through this minefield, if you will, just like any other single woman, whether or not I want to get married or have children. It's difficult and it's hard. And I think the most important thing is that I had to be sure of myself. I also had to be honest, and I'm going to adjust this a little bit and make sure that my intentions were clear and that I was being totally transparent. You have to let a man or a woman know, if you're male and you're single and you're looking to be, to just have female friends and companions. You have to be upfront and honest about what it is you're seeking, number one. You also have to be able to set parameters for your relationship. Is it going to be a friends with benefits situation? Or is it going to be purely platonic? Whatever the case is, you have to be very sure and transparent up front before you go into these kinds of relationships. What I have found is that the majority of the men that I have been involved with in relationships have a hard time with just being friends. They always want to take it a step further. Whereas for me, I am definitely attracted to things like intelligence, warmth, kindness. I like stimulating conversation. I'd like a travel companion, someone who makes me laugh, who has a wonderful sense of humor, you know. And that's male or female, those are the kinds of things that I'm attracted to. So, in trying to forge positive, meaningful relationships with men based on that criteria, I find that it's been very, very difficult for me. And rather than settle for less because I'm fearful about being alone, I'd rather be alone. Again, because I enjoy my own company so much. And it's easier for me, but I know it's not easy for every woman to go through life as a single woman. I know it's difficult. I know that you're looking at your friends and family members and they're coupled up or booed up, and you're like, what's wrong with me? Why isn't it happening for me? But I have to tell you, you have to be so sure of yourself. You have to be so comfortable with yourself. You have to know what you will and will not settle for or put up with, I guess is the better way to phrase that. You have to know what you will tolerate. And if you're in a budding relationship with a man and things are not to your specification, then you have to end the relationship. I think that a lot of times women settle, you know. Society sometimes teaches us to let the man be the man, let him lead, let him dominate the relationship. But if it's at your expense, in other words, if you're making yourself smaller so he can appear bigger and greater, if you're dimming your light so that he can shine brighter, it may work for you temporarily, but I can guarantee you're going to get tired of that. You're going to resent that. You're going to resent him as well as yourself for being in that situation. Bottom line, it's not going to work. It is just, it's difficult because, like I said, relationships do matter, and we're built that way. We have a need for human companionship. We have a need for intimacy. I know all of that, and I get all of that. And I've had some pretty, not many, but I've had a couple of deep, meaningful relationships. But they always knew up front that marriage and having a family was not on the table. That's not what I wanted. That was non-negotiable. It was not going to happen. And that scares a lot of men off too, I think. And for me, especially as I got older, I was looking for purely platonic relationships. And that's another thing. The P word, you say the P word, or even the F word, let's just be friends. And some men, it just strikes fear in them and they go running, to the hills. They don't even want to give you the time of day because that's not what they're looking for. I think it's hard to make the decision to be alone rather than to be with someone who is not good for you and not healthy for you. So the few relationships that I've had, I have to confess, they didn't last very long. They started out good and we would talk and go on dates and travel and do things together. But unless they were willing to invest the time in really getting to know me and just function on the level of friendship that I desired and that they initially indicated that they were okay with, if that wasn't going to happen, or they had a change of heart, or they thought maybe I wasn't serious and I would have a change of heart, if any of those things happened, the relationships fell apart. Now, that's not to say that I'm sour on having deep, meaningful friendships with men, because I'm not. And I just wanted to tell you, don't give up. Don't compromise on anything that you feel very strongly about. And make sure you know what you want, number one. And take some time to work on yourself if you don't know what you want, if you don't know who you are, if you don't feel comfortable with yourself as a single woman. Because, believe me, men can pick up on the signals, if you will, your vibration, your energy. They can tell if you are desperate. They can tell if you are needy. They can tell if you are clingy. And all of those things, like I said, just strikes fear in their hearts. And they are gone faster than you can blink. So it's quite possible that you're not ready for a relationship at this point. And that's okay. Just take the time, as much time as you need, to work on yourself first and learn to be confident, learn to be comfortable in your own skin. And once you can accomplish those things, I've heard so many women say that they were out shopping or in line at the post office, just doing everyday things, and they met the man of their dreams because they weren't even looking. They were just happy, they were existing, they were just being themselves. And that happens too, and I know it does. So I guess what I'm trying to say is relationships matter, definitely, but don't settle for any relationship. Make sure you're clear on what you want. Communication is key. And make sure you've worked on yourself and that you are ready to have a meaningful relationship with a man, to get to know him, to be friends with him first, to find out if you really like him, if you're compatible with him. All of those things are equally important. And if you rush past any of that and skip over any of those steps, it's not going to work anyway. So remain positive and remain happily single as long as you have to until you can find exactly what it is you're seeking. Thanks for watching.